Yes, but no later than that, please. Thank you. Oh, the caterer promises to be here at 5:30. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
And you don't believe him?
Well, Rene is wonderful, but he's not terribly time-conscious.
Just what this evening needs, a temperamental Frenchman.
Now, relax. Everything is going to be fine. But maybe I will just call his partner to make sure, though.
Maybe I should run down to the corner grocery and get some cheese and crackers just in case.
Oh, right. Cheese and crackers to raise $100,000.
Well, she could, you know. The people we've invited are not interested in sampling our food. They're here to be convinced that the Chesterfield Free Clinic is the best place for their bridals, which it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Amen.
I guess that settles that, huh? Hey, why don't we all have a little break, hmm?
My thoughts exactly.
Stacy, your father told me about Nancy lighting into you the other day. I hope she didn't upset you.
Oh, I'm afraid I know her tactics too well to let her do that.
Have you spoken to her since that little incident at the apartment?
Yeah, she stopped by my office this morning. She asked if she could stay with me for a while. Apparently, she's been kicked out of Vicky's apartment.
And you said?
No. If you think you know her tactics, Stacy.
Good. Tough love is exactly what she needs. Maybe that'll change her attitude.
Maybe. But Nancy has a way of finding how not to change.
Scotch on the rocks for me and a champagne cocktail for the little lady, Teddy.
Right away.
Don't go away, Teddy Bear. Mommy has to do something.
This little bear wouldn't think of leaving, sugar.
Isn't he adorable?
I suppose you've been asked 1,000,000 times why you and your sister are so different.
2 million.
And what do you usually say?
I usually don't. You know, people love to complain about Nancy, but nobody really wants to hear the explanation.
I would.
Well, sad to say, but my mother really did treat us differently. That's the one thing that Nancy's always been right about. But before my mother realized what she was doing, the damage had already been done.
Well, no offense, Terry, but I think Nancy's used that as an excuse for too long.
Oh, I'm not offering it as an excuse. No, no matter what my mother did to her, Nancy is still responsible for her own actions. But you see, that's her problem. She can't face up to that truth. And yet, when you know something about her past, it helps when you're dealing with her.
Well, I wonder what she's going to do now that she doesn't have any money and doesn't have any place to stay.
Well, I offered her a place to stay, but only on the condition that she'd stop lying all the time.
Which she refused, right?
Right. You know, I don't think I've ever seen Nancy this low, and that scares me.
Well, don't let it. That's the favorite tactic of every spoiled, self-indulgent person.
Well, hello. Long time no see.
Nancy,
I knew I'd find you here.
did you?
So how have you been?
Nancy, please.
What's wrong?
Who said anything was wrong?
Well, you're pushing me away, so something's wrong. Now, come on. You're the world's biggest cuddle bunny, right?
Nancy, come on. We're over.
Okay, okay. Well, Fred, you really did have mischief on your mind after all, didn't
Nancy,
you? Cheers to the world's biggest cuddle bunny.
Cheers.
You know, I was going to tell you that I really do forgive you for setting me up with Dan Myers.
Nancy, I would have given you the same advice again. It's not Dan's fault that some screwball where you worked caused the Canterbury to collapse.
Well, did you miss me?
Miss me?
Does a wolf miss the moon on a cloudy night?
Listen, honey, you're interrupting something.
No, Nancy. You are.
What?
Just like the last time. Hey, what's she doing with my drink?
Oh, there's plenty more where that came from. Ernie, could we have another one of these here? Well, it's been nice seeing you again.
Well, wait a minute. A couple of weeks ago, you were huffing and puffing to get past my bedroom door.
Well, I'm all puffed out, sweetheart. So if you'll excuse me.
Well, if you think I'm going to pay for this, you got another thing coming.
That's all that really matters, isn't it? Ernie, would you put this on my bill? And we'll be over there when the drink's ready.
Yeah. You look lonely, doll.
Not that lonely.
Hey, Jacko, give me bourbon straight up. And another one of what the little ladies have in here. Does that mean you accept?
It means I'm thirsty.
Close enough for me. Say, guess what my nickname is?
I couldn't care less what your real name is.
Oh, come on, guess.
I'm sure it's something that's not repeatable.
GT for short. Well, guess why?
It's beyond me.
Because everybody who spends some time with me has a good time. GT, good time. Get it? GT?
There you go.
Ah, thank you. And, here you go.
GT, tell me, what's your real name?
Why not? I thought it sounded like a lot of fun.
It does, but I've made other plans for tonight.
Oh?
I'm going to the fundraiser at your father's clinic.
What?
Now, before you lay into me,
Why?
Well, if you can hold that tongue of yours for a second, I'll tell you.
This better be good.
And if it's not?
Just tell me.
All right, first of all, Prescott Development helped rebuild the place. Secondly, the press will be there, and we could use some good publicity now. And which brings us to number 3. I plan on making a pretty healthy donation to the clinic, about $5 grand.
I don't believe this.
Hopefully, people will read about it in the paper tomorrow. It'll help remove some of the tarnish off of this company's name. It's a good business move, Amber, and I'm not going to apologize for it.
You're right. It is. Go ahead. Use him for your own gains. It's no more than he deserves.
And besides, he's doing good work down there. He deserves the money.
Please. You, probably won't be tied up there all evening, will you?
Probably not.
So, why don't we grab a bottle of something cold and head off to...
Sorry. I've made other plans.
There you go, young fella.
We're home, Mom! Mom!
Hi there. Did you have a good time?
Real good. I saw Mark Thompson and Craig Wilson.
Oh, you did? How are they?
Real good. Mark's gonna come over tomorrow, and we're gonna play Alien Marauders. He holds the record down at the arcade. I'm gonna go upstairs and practice now.
That's a good idea. You do that, Eric.
Hey, wait a minute. I've hardly seen you all day.
Oh, come on, Mim. Don't be ridiculous. You'll smother the boy.
Daddy, I hardly think it's smothering just to be interested in what he's been doing.
Well, you heard him. He needs to practice.
I'll stay if you want, Mom.
No. You go right ahead. Now, the fact that you have a chance to beat that Rivers boy is very important. And remember, a carpenter always tries to be number one.
Daddy, we're talking about a video game, not a scholastic achievement or some sort of business deal.
Mim, I think it's obvious that he wants to go upstairs.
Would you, Eric?
Well, I really could beat him if I had a little practice.
All right, then go.
You're not gonna be mad at me if I do.
No, not at you.
Well, I wonder who it leaves then.
Why must you always interfere like that?
Mim, I don't call it interfering. I call it helping you to see what the boy really wants.
Oh, yes, and if there's ever any little difference between that and what I want, then you make sure that he gets his way.
You know, I wish that you could hear yourself. You act more spoiled than Eric does.
Oh, Daddy, that's not fair.
I'm sure you think it isn't.
Daddy, I have some legitimate complaints here, and you are going to listen to them.
I suppose these plans of yours include another person.
I really don't want to talk about it.
I see. I suppose you're expecting some kind of a reaction from me over this.
Not really.
Oh. Did I happen to mention that Blair Simpson is back in town again?
Who's Blair Simpson?
I guess I haven't. An old friend I haven't seen for a couple of years.
Maybe I'll try and have dinner with her tonight.
Good idea.
Why didn't you think this was going to come up?
I just didn't.
Are you going to be taking her to the house afterward?
Oh, it's nothing like that, Amber. Let's just drop it, okay?
No, I want to talk about it.
So we will talk about it then, right?
Right.
Wrong. Not this time. I don't want to talk about it. And I'm sick of going by your agenda. End of subject.
Maybe it's best we don't get together tonight.
Maybe it is.
Have a wonderful time.
I plan on it.
How many times do I have to say it, Daddy? I feel you're giving Eric a false set of values.
And how many times do I have to tell you that I'm trying to toughen him up, to teach him not to be afraid of competition, to give him the advantage of a man's perspective? He needs it.
Well, a man's perspective does not have to cater to his every little whim.
Just because you regard his sessions with the video as being frivolous or counterproductive doesn't mean they are. They're very important. He's learning for the first time to test his skills against another.
Oh, brother.
And he's also learning what a thrill it is to be number one.
Oh, yes, yes. Does that mean that you're also teaching him that to be number 2, or God forbid, to come in last someday, is just appalling?
Mim, are you saying that it isn't good to want to be number one?
No, Daddy, that's not my point. The point is that not everyone can be. Not even you. And there's an equally valuable lesson to learn about failure. And that might be that it's not something to be afraid of.
And it's nothing to be courted either. You know, I know exactly where all this is coming from. It's part of this fuzzy religious thinking of yours. And in my opinion, that attitude is just as irresponsible, if not defeated, as you think mine is.
Daddy, no. The cross is not a symbol of defeat or failure. It's a symbol of victory. Don't you see, Jesus didn't stay there dead. He rose from the grave. He defeated death.
In my opinion, Mim, that is a myth. And myths are not very useful in the real world.
All right, please, Daddy, please. Let's not get started in this again, all right?
Mim, I've been accused of being unrealistic. I'm defending myself. No. Your son is at a very impressionable age. He's beginning to ask important questions now, questions that need adult answers. And I'm trying to show him that not all adults believe the way you do.
My, what a nice place.
Yeah, it isn't so bad. It's cheap. That's its main attraction.
It'd have to be.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe some of the stuff that goes on around this place.
Don't count on it. You live here?
I rent the room every now and then, to get away from it all. I party for a few days and then, back to the old grindstone.
I shudder to think what the old grindstone's like if this is where you get away from it all.
Don't knock it. Care for a drink?
Yeah, I need one. Where are the glasses?
In this place? Are you kidding?
No, I'm not.
Well, you're gonna have to rough it, doll.
Delightful.
No, don't worry. The booze will kill all the germs.
Listen, this has been real nice, okay? But, I gotta go.
Yeah, where are you going?
Home.
I thought you didn't have one.
Well, I'll improvise.
Look, I got the place for a week. Why don't you stay here?
Well, there's one little problem with that arrangement.
What?
Well, this place is not big enough for 2.
What? I'll be gone.
Really? When?
First thing in the morning. Oh, look. One night together wouldn't be so awful, would it, doll?
Oh, Mr. Mayor. Hi. Welcome. Mr. Mayor, glad to see you again. What do you think?
I think it's going marvelously.
Why?
Sally Beaumont.
Sally Beaumont? I don't understand.
She is here. That is a real coup.
Is it?
Trust me.
Well, I know of an even bigger one.
Oh?
Kate Phillips. Thanks for everything.
We have too much to do before we get to that stage. Now you get ready to make that speech.
Sure.
Well, it's our feeling that this clinic is meeting a need that no other service in the city is really qualified to take care of, especially in light of the recent federal budget cuts. Now, obviously, we feel it's a worthwhile and important endeavor, or else we wouldn't be here. And of course, well, we hope you feel the same way.
Do you think that Ben realizes that those two over there are probably worth more than my father?
With that look and that tone, that intense honesty, you're darn right he knows.
Terry, here's a real morbid thought for you. Now, if this roof would just suddenly collapse right now, I think our government would be considerably richer from all the inheritance taxes it could collect.
Why don't you just keep that one to yourself, okay?
Keep what to yourself?
Oh, Alex, it's so good to have you here.
Oh, I wouldn't have missed it for the world. Miriam, how are you?
Just great.
This place has really gone through a lot of changes, hasn't it? And it wouldn't have been possible at all without you.
You know, World War III couldn't have kept Ben and Dave from putting this place together. I must admit, though, I'm thrilled to be a part of it.
I just heard Bob Harrison complaining that we aren't serving any alcohol.
He always complains about something, but he usually gives a lot.
But you don't think that was a bad decision on Dad's part, do you? I mean, something as trivial as that won't affect the way people give, will it?
I'm banking on it. And remember, most of these people here are old friends, so they understand.
This is the first time Dad's seen most of them again, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It really must have taken a lot of courage for him to do this.
I agree.
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention? Thank you. I can't begin to thank you all enough for being here this evening. There are a lot of faces from years gone by, and if I haven't already said it to you personally, it's a real joy to see you here again. There are also a lot of new faces, and I hope that in years to come, I'll be able to call you my friends, too. Maybe I should quit while I'm ahead. I guess I should point out that even though this is a very distinguished group, we do have some special guests with us this evening. Please welcome Mayor and Mrs. Ochner. And Mr. Hugh Wainwright, who I believe has an eye on a certain congressional seat. Now remember, Hugh, I get 50% of any contribution you get tonight. Now, a wise man once said that honesty is the rarest wealth that anyone can possess. And yet, all the honesty in the world isn't legal tender for a loaf of bread. And to add to it, it isn't legal tender for medical supplies either, or for all the hundreds of other expenses that we incur here at the clinic. Now, we are a very honest endeavor. We need your help. I thank you in advance for your response.
Dr. Phillips, I'm indeed delighted to be the first to respond. Without a doubt, the Chesterfield Clinic is an honest endeavor, and it gives me great pleasure to present my personal check in the amount of $2,000 to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wainwright always did know how to milk a situation.
Lee, I thought you weren't coming tonight.
It's a politician's right to always change his mind. Especially when the competition is trying to take advantage of it. Besides, I don't think I actually said that I definitely wasn't coming, did I?
Mrs. Davidson, I realize I don't know you well enough to ask a favor like this.
What's wrong?
That man over there that's talking to my mother.
Lee Carruthers.
Yeah. It was my understanding that he wasn't going to be here tonight. Now, I had the feeling that he came for more than just politics.
I think I'm beginning to catch on.
I know this may sound very immature, but could you help me keep them apart for my father's sake?
Sure. It sounds like it might be fun. That must be very tiring.
Oh, very, very. But I thrive on it. After every campaign, I feel twice the man I was when I started.
Well, it looks like everything's going pretty well, doesn't it?
Yes, very well. I realize it's not as much as I'd like it to be right now, but the situation
It's
with
very
Daddy...
generous. Are you sure you should do this? I don't want you to have any problems at home.
Well, no, Benny, it's my money, so Daddy really has no right to object.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Lee. I didn't know you were going to be here this evening.
Dave, how are you? Well, I wasn't planning on it, to tell you the truth, but I heard that Wainwright was going to be down here grandstanding, so I couldn't resist the temptation to come and laugh.
Want some punch, Dave?
Yes, thanks, Terry. Is that the only reason you're here, or do you have another surprise or two in store for us?
Dave, Terry, come over
No
here, would you?
If you'll excuse us for a few moments.
Sure thing. I'll look after your drinks. There you go, Dave. Just what the doctor ordered.